Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ladies, understand something. The top end of a woman's weight is 145 pounds. Okay. My mother's 5'9", and she was 145 pounds until she was 50. That's the top end of your weight, because there should be about a 40-pound difference between you and men.
Basically, if the guy is rich, what ends up happening is the lawyer contacts the person and be like, hey, you know, your name gonna be all in the paper, so you might as well just settle out of court.
I can recognize talent. Even if I don't agree with the politics, a lot of the politics that was underlying in the show and some of the sentiments he was trying to share, I recognize artistry when an artist is present.
Yes, this is the definition of absolutely cooked. We'll never go back and take a look at her bad decision and take accountability for any of that.
Because there is powerful people in the industry, somehow there is a different law that applies to them. And I agree with that assessment.
What's up, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, IG, Rumble? What's good? What's the word? Happy Thursday. Peace and blessings. Glory and praise to the Most High. We back live tomorrow. The virtual open mic returns. I am excited. I am thrilled. I can't wait. It's been like 3 weeks. 3 weeks since we did one. If you ain't never been a part of an open mic virtually or even in person, then you're not going to really understand or know how to appreciate them. I'm trying to tell you, it's a different world. It's so tranquil and peaceful. Grown. Everybody is just there to enjoy some good literary art. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's judging you. It's just pretty chill and laid back. And that's why I'm excited for tomorrow. So if you are in a building and you free, tap in, make sure you make your way over to the stream tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to my poets, my writers, content creators, all of you. You know, I got to give my flowers out to the people. I got one for y'all. Do me a solid. Like, share, repost. Let the people know we on. I got a video that I'm going to play here. If you're not familiar with the title, then you might be familiar with this clip. Jason is in the building. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to bring him up. Do me a solid. If you have any topics, questions, anything that you got for the panel, for Sydney, for me, for him, email me, shoot me a DM. I'll bring him to the panel. We'll discuss it. Outside of that, let's get the show started. Jason, what's up?
Everything's good, man. How's everything with you?
It's Friday is right around the corner. I couldn't be more thrilled. More thrilled. It's been a long week, a very, very long week. Just grateful to be here one more night, man.
Good. You know, it's funny. As soon as you sent me the link when I got it over email, and I saw the title, I was like, "Oh, this should be interesting." And then I looked it up. I think it's the one you're gonna be talking about, the one with Michael Bosworth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that entire clip. Actually, I actually watched the segment that talked about it in detail. Not just from the TikTok. I didn't watch the TikTok video. I actually watched. I watched the professional, more of the journalistic point of view.
Right. That's what's going to make this more interesting, because the person who sent me the topic, I wanted them present. I guess he's tied up. If he decides to pull up, I hope it is sooner than later. But nonetheless, I felt like this needed to be talked about. First of all, before I even go into the video itself, how do you feel about pranks in general?
For me, it's a mixed bag. As long as it doesn't do any harm or cause any shame or seek to bully another person, I really have no problem with it. The moment it crosses that line, it's no longer a prank. It's malicious. If you're asking about the prank that we're about to talk about, I'm not gonna give too much of it away, but I've dealt with that because my stepdaughter, she's a beautiful young woman, like truly, and there'd be some hooligans who would do this kind of thing because they wanted to get her attention. So, yeah, I know about this practice and what it looks like and whatnot, and I am not amused by the fact that this happens. It's dumb.
Yeah, I'm about the same with that. I don't find anything wrong with. I don't find nothing wrong with them as long as they're harmless. They're kind of just like, you don't break a leg or an arm or no crazy shit like that. If it's that, then I mean, cool. I mean, you might leave the toilet seat up and the person fall in it or something like that. But the ones that get extremely out of hand, where like you're going into dangerous territory, messing with Bloods and Crips, and you're trying to pretend like you're representing a gang, and then it turns into like stuff like that. I don't really think is funny. Nicole, I see you. I appreciate you for tapping in. Yeah, I don't see nothing funny about that, but they can be fun. I mean, they're supposed to be lighthearted. At least that's what I was under the impression.
So I think pranks only work. I think pranks only work if both or all parties concerned are okay with the idea of pranking. It requires a level of consent to it. And if there is no consent, if it's just sprung upon you, it can't be considered a prank. A good case in point. There's this husband and wife channel on, I think it's on TikTok and Facebook Reels, where they constantly are trying to one-up each other with balloons that are filled with shaving cream and water. The antics they get up to, each one is trying to make sure that the other one gets hit by these balloons, or they drop on them, or they get sabotaged in some way with these balloons. And it's hilarious. But it's hilarious because both of them are involved in it. Both of them have consented to this, and they know everything that's going to be involved. they do it with their eyes open. Bear in mind that he's a police officer as a profession. I'm not sure what she does, if she's just a stay-at-home mom or what she does. But you've got someone who's in a high-stress job who is more than willing to use this as a way of being able to have fun with his wife. I mean, it is amazing. And yes, it's a prank, but it's a prank with consent. There is this knowledge that, yeah, something's going to happen. I got to be on my guard, but it's all in fun. It can only be all in fun if everyone involved believes it's all in fun. If you believe it's all in fun and someone else didn't get the memo, that's not a prank. That's bullying at best, victimizing at worst.
I used to watch those videos a lot, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. And what be funny about them joints is I be asking myself, how the hell do you not know that this is coming? Like the way that I don't know how they be so precise with the Nerf gun or whatever they use when they fire them off at the balloon. Like the timing be so impeccable, and I just be laughing my ass off. But those are the ones that I enjoy. I do. I really do. Now, if you out at a Walmart and then somebody crashes into your car and that's supposed to be some form of a, oh, this was staged. No, you cannot expect somebody to respond the way that you were respond. You're going into this thinking it's fun. I'm not thinking this is fun. I'm ready to call the police, or it's going to turn into something a little more extra than that, because you didn't give me the opportunity to say that I want to be a part of this or not. There's some small instances where I can understand it, like them hold my hand pranks. Those are lighthearted. They're kind of imposing into your private space, but they're not as like invasive to me.
And that's the difference.
Yeah,
it's the difference of being invasive. The moment it becomes invasive on your person, your safety, or your emotional well-being, it's no longer a prank. It's an attack.
which is why we are here today. Shout out to Desperado for sending me this. I seen it already before, but the video that I'm going to play, y'all probably already seen it. We've seen it in its entirety, which is going to make this a little more interesting. I believe this is like a 2-minute video. It doesn't go into all the details, but it gives y'all enough to kind of go off of your own judgment of it. And I know there's a lot of opinions on this one, so maybe we can kind of break this down as much as possible. Let me read off this comment real quick before I go there. When I was younger, I was a prankster and I got in trouble many times. I think a lot of us did. My grandparents, my folks, they weren't into that type of stuff. But my sisters and my brother, that's different. There's some people you can get away with doing that too, and there's other people who are just not having it at all. Especially in school. You know, like if you ever watched something where the football team or somebody, they always did something to the principal or to one of the teachers that they were cool with or whatever. I was not a participant, nor did I ever partake in that type of culture. I didn't see it personally, but I've seen too many stories where people actually did it. We didn't have that type of relationship. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. And to the people that are watching, I'm gonna read your comments off. I want to know if you thought this was going too far. Do you think this had anything to do with racism or race, or I mean, what is your perspective on it? Right. Let me bring this up real quick. Like I said, it's like 2 minutes.
Butler is 27 years old. He is charged with second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and using a firearm in the commission of a felony. He's accused of shooting at 3 teenagers behind the home he grew up in and shares with his parents and brother here on Mackenzie Lane in Fredericksburg. The shooting happened around 3 a.m. Saturday. The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office says the teens were attempting to burglarize the Butler's house. 18-year-old Massaponax High School senior Michael Bosworth was shot and killed. One of the 2 juveniles with him was shot and wounded. They tell investigators they were videotaping themselves doing a ding-dong ditch as part of a TikTok challenge. One of Tyler Butler's longtime neighbors here says she's devastated by what's happened.
It's very sad, very sad. This is truly on everybody's part. Like, poor child, the poor kid that got killed, and of course what happened to him. I mean, such a stupid prank. And look at the results. Families ruined. So, very sad. Hope this does not happen, and I hope that kids learn a lesson.
Michael Bosworth's classmates held a vigil in his honor as part of their senior sunset celebration at school last night. Those who knew him still tried to make sense of Michael Bosworth's death.
I do feel as if this brought us more closer together, because I would say our counselor has been doing such a fantastic job, reaching out to everybody. Our principal, Dr. Lancaster, phenomenal job as well. And I couldn't be more thankful for the supporting cast at Massaponax,
Now, in court documents, Tyler Butler reports being single, having gone to college to study computer science, and now making his living through sports betting. He's being held in jail without bond, has his next court date next month. We've reached out to the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's and Commonwealth's Attorney's offices. They have no comment about this case. And not long ago, guys, I met with a neighbor here who showed me video from in front of his home not long before the shooting down the street. And the video, he wouldn't share it with us yet, but it shows 3 teenagers approaching his house and not ringing the doorbell and running, but banging and kicking his garage door. He says they weren't trying to break into his house, but this was not just simply ringing and running.
So, what I also have understood from this is that even though Stephen Tyler Chase Butler, even though he claims that he was defending against a burglar, there is evidence that suggests strongly that by the time that he opened fire, they were running away from the house. And that is a very clear distinction between stand your ground, which is there in Virginia, the stand your ground law, also known as castle doctrine. Basically, anyone who doesn't know, stand your ground is basically you don't have to flee when confronted by some kind of assailant or bad actor. You are able to defend your home and use deadly force if necessary. So it's if it was self-defense, the kids would be, well, sorry, you effed up, and you when you f up, when you f around, you find out. But if in fact they were running away, castle doctrine does not apply. And if he shot at them as they were running, he becomes a pursuer, and that means that he committed murder. So really, the entire case is going to hinge on that, whether in fact he was actually defending his home through the stand your ground law, or if he pursued these kids to commit a violent act in retribution for their prank.
This is why I don't like stuff like this. And I was young. I remember doing shit like Nicole just said. We used to leave cherry bombs and firecrackers and shit on people's doors. Yeah, we were we were bad. We were bad as hell. And like, you don't know who lives in these houses. They could be elderly people. There could be 3-year-olds, toddlers. You don't know who's at the door. You don't know if you can cause somebody cardiac arrest from the fear of you banging and banging on. You don't really know what you're involving yourself in when you do things like this. Now, from what I understand, they had a camera and they were recording it. And even then, you're taking a huge risk. You're putting yourself in harm's way when you basically are going to someone's property without any type of heads up, no consent. And the sad part is we are in a space right now when strangers just can't show up on your property. Like, I was 15, 16 years old. I got lost downtown at one point, and I was trying to find my way back home. I didn't have no money. I ain't had nothing. I was knocking on doors just because I was trying to, all right, can you at least call somebody for me? Can I use your phone? Nobody's answering their doors. I had one person, they came to the door and were like, nah, you gotta get the fuck off my property. I'm not with it. I'm still a kid, and this is back in shit. This is years ago, 2000, I want to say around 2000, 2002, maybe even before that. My point is, even then, like in this area alone, you're not about to just go to somebody's property and they don't know you, you ain't called, and just knock on somebody's door. And that's just knocking on their door. But you talking about you kicking on the door and this. Yeah, they're going to have a real, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a difficult case or not, especially if they were running away. This one seems a little different than the Henson situation. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and like, unfortunate. Honestly, my heart goes out to the family. Nobody should lose their life like that. But it goes back to invading someone's personal space. I ain't gonna hold you. You come to my door kicking and banging on my shit like that. I'm not waiting. I'm not answering no questions or nothing, because that's the climate that we're in. That's why I would say, first of all, make sure that you have Ring cameras, at least so you can see what's going on, and then make a fair assessment of the situation. But I mean, I can't say you really wrong here. If they were running away and you still went after them, that has to be considered murder. It has to be.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
one thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, one thing I was going to say is, Nicole had said something about delayed reaction. I actually talked with someone who owns a storage facility, and she told me that she does carry, that she has a gun with her because for safety. And she talked to an officer who said, if I see that there's someone who is trying to rob me, I go and get my gun and come back down. Is that legal? He said no. Because what you are doing is you are now premeditating violence. You are going to retrieve a weapon in order to commit a violent act. And it's really important to understand what the difference is between defense and premeditation. Because defense is a reaction. And if you are doing something other than defending yourself in the moment with what you have available with you in that moment, or you are fleeing a pursuer and then you're able to get a gun and defend yourself that way, that's different. But to go get a gun and then address something, that's not defense. That is violence. And it could be it is violence with a deadly weapon, or assault with a deadly weapon. In the case of Tyler Chase Butler, if he had to go get his gun, and at 3 a.m., why would you be strapped? So, which means he probably had to go get his gun and then see what was out there, see the kids running, and then do what he did. That is not self-defense. That is not a delayed reaction. That is premeditation. The fact that he's only charged with murder 2 and assault with a deadly weapon, assault with what was it? Violence with a firearm, 2 counts, and all of them are felonies. The fact that he was only charged with murder 2 and not murder 1, because he had to think about the fact of getting a weapon and then addressing the situation, rather than even with a delayed reaction, where a delayed reaction is seconds. You're processing what's going on and then you decide to act. A delayed reaction is not, I see something, I go get a weapon, and then I address it. So there's a really big difference, and it's really important, especially in the eyes of the law, how you look at this. And like I said, I've talked to people who have either been consulting or have been in these situations, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen legally, but I do have enough experience to be able to weigh in a considerable degree with a probable level of accuracy that you probably wouldn't see anywhere else. So take that for what it's worth. I yield the mic.
Based on what you watched, was there any indication that he gave you any signal that he had to ponder what he was going to do? Was there any footage? Because like for me, I didn't, what you might have seen, I don't think I saw, because what you're suggesting is he had to think about what was going on, and then based on what he assessed, he said, all right, this is what I got here, let me go ahead and do this, and then I'm gonna come down here and then address the threat or possible threat. They ran, he went into pursuit. Is there any indications that he felt or that he reacted with the idea of going into it, doing something regardless of if it was a guaranteed threat or not? Because I'm trying to put myself in your scenario or what you're presenting. I'm in my room at 3 o'clock in the morning. I ain't got all of my senses. I'm groggy as hell. I hear boom, 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 boom. It doesn't sound natural or normal. I don't have a Ring camera, hypothetically speaking. So automatically for me, I'm going to grab something. I'm not waiting for whatever might be coming. I want to make sure that I'm giving myself the best chance to defend myself just in case. Is this that situation, or is this because I don't know. It's just, I'm not defending. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
I totally get
like
that.
I said,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. If he just looked at the Ring camera and he saw them, he didn't see no weapons or nothing like that. It was just them. Oh yeah. They're just laughing and joking and kiki and then he decided, oh, I'm still gonna grab this and then go down there. I understand what you're saying. If this is, he gets up and go downstairs, goes to the door, then goes back upstairs and then gets the gun, that's something else. So I'm just trying to put my mind in that moment.
Right. So another thing to think about is timing. How long does it take a person to do the ding dong dash or ding dong ditch, whatever you want to call it, whatever term you feel is right? I will address this comment as well. So it takes seconds to do. Whenever it was done, with my place, because of the hooligans that did it, it was always a quick bang, and then they ran. And if let's say that you have to wake up, the sound wakes you up. Totally understand. Let's say that you have the gun in your side drawer. Okay, cool. We'll say that he gets the gun, and he goes and see what's going on. By the time he gets there, they've already done the deed and they've started running. It takes seconds to do. It takes a few more seconds for him to get to the door and see them running. If that is the case, because in order for him to actually be able to claim self-defense, is he would have to be right at the door as they are pounding on it, open the door, point his weapon, and then fire in self-defense. Unless that was the case, if he was in his room, or if he was sitting on the couch, or if he was doing a normal thing that human beings do when they are in a state of relaxation, if he had to go to the door, see them running, and then open the door and fire, that is not stand your ground. It's something else. So this comment here, if it had been a white man and the kids were black, would people feel the same way? I don't know. But what I do know is that there was a tragedy that happened where someone took another person's life. And in that case, color and race don't mean a thing. Because it was a tragedy of human life. And it was an unfortunate circumstance for all concerned.
The whole trend is stupid to me.
It is, yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. It is absolutely stupid because people are putting themselves at risk. They are creating situations where this could happen. I mean, I think about the times when that happened to me, when these kids would do it to my door. I was like, man, these little freaking kids, I cannot wait until I have a bat with me and I'm at the door. They try to do it. I just cave their skulls in. Now, that would be wrong, but the thought is there. And so you have to think, all right, so what would a person in their right mind, if they are disturbed in this way where the shock is real and they are in a heightened sense of fight or flee, and it shows, well, if they were lingering, that's different. If they were lingering, now it's a situation where they might have been doing something else. Who knows? If it's truly ding dong ditch, they would have ran and left. If they're lingering, then it's no longer ding dong ditch. It is something else, and that is messed up. But to my point, if they were lingering, there could be cause for that. But again, if he opens the door and shows the gun and then they run off, he still doesn't have the right to shoot them because he is not in danger. He has warded off the threat, whatever it might be. Again, I didn't see the actual video of what happened. This is all commentary that I'm getting from secondhand knowledge. It was a journalistic report of what had happened. So if they lingered and he opened the door and they saw the gun, they did not leave, and he shoots, whatever. If he shows the gun and they run off and then he fires, that's murder.
I think it's also important to add, in addition to this, that another neighbor actually said that they identified the same 3 kids doing the exact same thing to their property. The only thing is they didn't ring a doorbell. They just kicked and beat on their door. And like I said, I've done this a lot. Me and my boys, when we were still out here being stupid. You do not linger. You don't linger. I ain't from suburbia. You kick on the door as hard as you can and then you run. You don't stay there and wait for someone to say hello. You beat on the door, you do whatever ignorant thing you're going to do, and then you get the fuck. Because you know whoever is on the other side of that door ain't about to be playing with you. That's how it was. You know what I mean? And
you grew up in DC, right?
Right.
So back in the early 2000s, DC was the murder capital of the country. So
correct.
The fact that people were on edge, untrusting, and if they saw someone lingering on the doorstep, they'd do something, makes complete sense. Because you're dealing with one of the most violently criminal places in the United States. That in Baltimore. They kind of were really competing with each other back and forth. 2 big cities that had huge crime rates. I think at one point in DC, correct me if I'm wrong, Mel, but I read somewhere that there was like a murder a day.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
That's why I say what they did, if that's true, that they were just kind of lingering around, no.
They were inviting bad stuff.
Yeah. You definitely ain't doing that up here. Even to this, I mean, it's not as bad as it was, but
the city still remembers.
Yeah. Overall, just the fact that it's even a trend bothers me. TikTok, I mean, like social media, the things that they make popular and fun, and it's supposed to be something that you enjoy. Why does it always end up causing people to either go to jail or end up dead for some reason? These supposed to be harmless pranks. That's why I asked you before the video even played, how do you feel about pranks in general?
Yeah. This would be a good conversation for another video. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't realize you weren't done talking. Please continue.
Oh, no, you're right. I'm just saying that's why I asked earlier, because I don't think in 2025 pranking should be a thing unless that's your spouse or family. I don't even know if I'm on the fence about it at this point. It just doesn't really seem like it's a good idea to be messing around with in theory. I know in Practical Jokers, they made money off of doing it. And like I said, there's guys on YouTube who hit million followers because they go to hoods and they walk around with blue on when they in a red neighborhood and all that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. Don't take your ass to nobody's home. Absolutely.
That's a fact.
I'm gonna say this again. And Nicole, I absolutely agree. This is a sad turn of events for all involved. It's an absolute tragedy that something like this happened. And I think the problem that I have with pranks is the fact that they get carried away. If you're not disciplined about them, they really get carried away, and you just want to out prank somebody, and you just do more and more. And it's more about just pulling off the prank rather than how it's going to affect other people. And that is selfish. And selfish behavior never works out well for everyone concerned. Never. And so I agree that this is something that's really, I don't like the ideas, especially of the pranks that are happening, because they are not good natured. They're not meant to just kind of if it's not something that's going to provide some sort of levity for all involved or create a laughing situation for everyone, then someone is going to be a victim, and it's never fun. That no one likes that. No one wants to be a victim, and so to victimize someone, it's wrong. And I know firsthand a lot the kind of effect that it can have on people, and I know on both sides. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Mel. Just don't do it. Just be smart. Don't act a fool.
I did a reaction video a few months ago. This little girl, she had to be 11 or 12, 13 years old, right? And she called 911 and told them that she was abducted. They put 12 to 14 units out to look for her because she said that she was in the back of a white van. I guess that's one of the most obvious. And they found a white van, but there was no little girl. When they called the number back, she hung up, but she didn't realize that they could trace the code. So they ended up going to where she resided. Her parents come to the door. They like, what's going on? What's happening? They get her to finally confess. We traced it back to this location. Ultimately, they put her in handcuffs. They took her down. The father was like, hey, you did this. You're going to have to deal with it and learn from it. And, stuff like that right there, you can't be doing that.
That's proper parenting.
Yeah. Like, that's why I would rather just leave that stuff alone. But I brought that up to say people or children like her and the young man who lost his life and the other two, they got these ideas from social media. And that's exactly what she said. Oh, it was a trend. It was a trend on TikTok. I was just doing a trend. She tried to lie on her brother and say her brother is the one who put her up to it. No, you got that from TikTok and you tried to copy it. And then what happened is you end up getting police taken off of their duties to protect or be in a space where they could stop some dangers, all to come deal with some goofy stuff that you had going on over a fucking TikTok.
What would have happened if
Now
someone started a trend on TikTok where these mindless idiots were watching someone do the jump off a cliff challenge?
I know, right? You know what? just out of curiosity, I'm gonna type that in because I got a feeling like you can put anything on Google and it just kind of just pulls stuff up. Let me see. The jump off a cliff challenge. Hold up. Oh, that's funny as hell. Hold up.
How many lemmings are going to follow suit? Get the hell out of here!
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't really get you out of the real clear pictures, but
oh my god,
it's real. It's real.
Apparently, not enough people are doing it because we got fools that are doing stupid shit all the time.
Yeah. That young man didn't have to lose his life. And to be honest with you, the guy who shot at them, my honest opinion, I really believe he could have had more restraint. Because, all right, realistically, they didn't bust through the door. So if they didn't make it inside of the house and you still had ample time to call the police, I think this is what I would have, if I was in that situation. I know where my weapon is. If I don't hear the door open, I'm going to make sure my weapon is near me, but I'm also have my phone. I'm going to call 911. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to let them know what's happening while also having my weapon. So the point is, if I have to use this weapon, at least I called the police first, or while I was in the situation, if I got the time to do it. Now, if it's a situation where they done already ran inside of the house, I don't have time to think. I just have to kind of go with my gut instinct on it. Nicole, I mean, you scared. Go ahead. No, I mean, you go ahead. You got it.
So, Nicole, when you said that you don't know what he's scared of, though, he might have people after him. That argument goes right out the window because he said that he thought he was being robbed. He didn't say that he thought that someone was after him. He didn't say anything like that. He said he thought he was being robbed and that he had to defend himself. That's a very specific statement. So it's I don't see the logic there.
That's different too, because getting robbed is not a good feeling. It really isn't. If you've never been robbed before, you don't understand the experience.
It sucks.
And yeah, it does. It does. We are our own worst enemies most of the time. And if he's claiming that he was scared, what kind of neighborhood are you living in, sir? I'm not really sure. I don't know enough to say that's a crime infested neighborhood or area. Especially if you got white kids running through there pranking and knocking on people. It can't be that bad. And I'm not saying that they are Malibu's most wanted or nothing like that, but like looking at it from that scale, I don't know. We need evidence. We need video footage. The only thing I care about is right and wrong here. That's all I care about at the end of the day. So
it's the legality
hopefully,
of it. Was he legally
right.
defending himself, or did he commit a crime? That is the question.
This right here is why I'm so neutral about it, because I don't know what that scenario was. I'm only going off of what I saw, and I didn't see enough to know what the time frame was. I don't know if he was like, I gotta think quick on my feet, or it was like what Jason said initially. I don't know.
And fear of something is not a good enough reason to take action. There has to be something that you are responding to, and it can't just be your fear, because fear can be irrational. Fear is not a reliable determinant for action. It is reliable for being on your guard, for being aware, but it is not a reason for taking action, especially one where deadly force is involved. In the military, we always have something called the rules of engagement, and the rules of engagement are very explicit, and they are that way for one, to ensure that the loss of life is kept to a minimum and only to enemy targets, and two, to ensure that we don't put ourselves in legal jeopardy should we accidentally commit, I don't know, a war crime or a crime against humanity or something like that. The rules of engagement are there to make sure that we only do things that are that are legal to do. And fear is never a good reason to do something. There has to be evidence that something is about to happen or something is happening in order for you to take action. And that could be as extreme as being fired upon, like in some rules of engagement, or that there's a credible threat that violence is about to occur and that action must be taken to limit the loss of innocent life as much as possible. So let's take this into the civilian world. The rules of engagement still apply, but they're not called the rules of engagement. It's called common sense. And common sense always rules the day. Are you afraid of something? Okay. Plan in order to mitigate the fear. Taking action because of fear is not a good excuse. You can mitigate the fear by having a plan, making sure that the things that you do are going to enable you to protect yourself and your loved ones as much as possible without crossing the line of the law. If you act on the fear, you run the risk of violating the law, causing harm, and in this case, killing someone.
I don't think you can do anything logically under duress.
No, but that's why you plan for it ahead of time. See, this is a common misconception. You don't. Whenever you are in an emotional state, a survival state, you always fall to the level of your training. If you don't train, you fall to paralysis. So, if you have training, and you know what you're going to do. If you have a plan and you make sure that that plan is good, that it becomes instinctual, you'll resort to that plan when shit happens. You never plan when the shit's going down. It's always beforehand. You have to make sure that you have a plan. If you don't have those who fail to plan to fail. It's not about whether he felt.
I'm glad you brought that up. Between what you just said and what she just said. See, I think that is one of our biggest issues that always get us shooting ourselves in the foot, right? We're never really truly prepared properly for certain situations. In my culture, on this side of the world, I don't know about everywhere else because every black person does not move and operate the same way. We're not indoctrinated the same way. Some of y'all probably grew up in neighborhoods where you didn't have to worry about somebody kicking in your doors and all that. But in a lot of our areas, that's what we're accustomed to. That's what we're used to. So it's like fight or flight. You know what I mean? And when you're stuck on that and you don't know how to respond without putting you or the other person in a situation like this, that is a problem. That is a huge problem. That's why I am fixated on not believing everything that was told to me or what is being shown on TV or on social media. That's why I don't listen to everything that a person says about eye for an eye and tit for tat and this, that, and that, and the third, because you'll always end up you got a gun, but you don't even know or understand the responsibilities of having the possession of it.
And that's
or you're too emotionally detached. Go ahead.
And that's another thing. If you have a weapon in your hand, if you bought a weapon, there's obviously a reason why you did that. Unless you're dumb. Unless you bought it just to say that you can have it, which is irresponsible. If you are going to possess a weapon, you had better have a plan. Because now you have the responsibility of a deadly weapon in your possession that could possibly, now guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. I'm gonna set that straight right there. But having a firearm, having a deadly weapon in your possession means that you are responsible for its use, and you're responsible for its misuse. So, if you're going to have a weapon, and any gun lessons place is going to tell you the exact same thing, make sure you have a plan of how to use it, where it's going to be, what you're going to do in case of an emergency, and how you're going to use it and when. Because these are all extremely important things. The firearm discharge should be the very last thing that you do. It should be the very last thing that you should be forced to do it if you're going to use it at all. And it's really important to have that mindset. It is not your first line of defense. It is your last. When all other options are exhausted or unavailable, where you can't call the police or the police response is way too far, there's an imminent threat to you, your family, or both. And you have to deal with the threat right away because they are also implementing a dangerous or deadly force. Those are the cases in which it should be, it usually is, in most places, I think, condoned to use a firearm in your defense. If it isn't one of the, or for the defense of another, if you see that someone is attacking another person with deadly force and their life is on the line, and you know that there is a clear delineation between the attacker and the victim, yes, you can use deadly force. It's called defense of another. But those are very specific use cases where you're able to use deadly force legally. If you aren't understanding the law of how to use a firearm, don't get a firearm. Use a bat, use a knife, use something else. Because once the bullet leaves that barrel, you can't take it back. It's gone. It's out of your control. And now whatever's going to happen is going to happen. If you are not going to discipline yourself, inform yourself, and create a plan about how you're going to use it, don't get one.
And that actually, to be honest, that goes with any weapon you use. You can use a brick and hit somebody in, depending on the angle where you hit them at, what it does to the person. How everything played out, that can be considered just as bad too. It really just depends on the situation. And I'm gonna say it again, you need to get your emotions in check. You need to remove anything that was put in you that debilitates you from actually applying the proper logic, even in the face of danger or any type of adversity. You can be scared, but if you have, like Jason said, training, if you're already knowledgeable about certain situations, like just like if you live in an area where you get tornadoes, you already know the procedures because you chose to live there and you've been in it. So this ain't no different. But see, if you are still acting as if this is Grand Theft Auto, and nah, you're going to have to get rid of some of that programming that's been put in you, and then rebuild and understand that there are other measurements, other courses of action that you can take. But, you know, I think you pretty much said it a little more eloquent than I did, but that's a fact. How my last thoughts on all of it, I think this is key right here. How important is having proper training emotionally? I mean, just covering your bases for situations like this. I know it was a prank, but we don't always know that it's a prank. You're not always going to be able to just predict that, oh, somebody's going to spray paint and throw toilet paper on your tree and all. How do you advise somebody or tell them, look, I can understand you being fearful or threatened or whatever the case may be, but you do have options, you know what I'm saying? And you need to know how to weigh your options and be able to process it in a healthy manner, even though you got all of this stuff going on in you.
It is the most important thing. Developing emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, and emotional resilience are probably the most important skills that you could have. I would say they are the most important skills to have. That and self-awareness. It all starts with self-awareness anyway. So self-awareness is the most important thing. You have to be aware of how you are feeling and what you are going through. You have to. You have to learn how to develop that. And this doesn't go for just anybody who has a weapon. This goes for everyone, period. Become more aware of who you are. You want to learn how to do that, go to relatum.com, scroll down to my book, The Leading Man. It's more of a book about men's leadership, but really a lot of the principles apply to everybody, men and women. Get the book, read it. You'll be glad that you did. The second principle is emotional intelligence. It's absolutely important to know how you are feeling, and more importantly, how your feelings are affecting others. Well, actually, equally as important, not more important, but equally as important. The next one is developing healthy boundaries. What are you going to defend, and what are you going to allow? Understand that. Know what you and develop a plan. Again, there's that P word of how you're going to deal with those situations, and then emotional, or also known as stoic resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, and the ability to understand when things really are as bad as they are and when they aren't. These are extremely necessary skills that every single human being has to be able to develop and master. If you don't do this, you are a consummate victim.
A constant victim and suspect. Because no matter how you look at it, if you move irrational and you do things because you're trigger happy or you just been itching to use whatever it is that you have, it's not going to be a good look on you or the parties involved. So I think this was a well needed. I'm glad we covered this one. I wish she would have pulled up. I do, but this was definitely
Nicole,
needed.
You had some great insights. Thank you so much for showing up. This was great. Having you here to comment was fantastic.
Oh yeah, shout outs. I told them on what's the name that I was going to be going live here in a few, and she responded, was like, all right. So when she pulled up, I'm like, all right, cool. All right, that's what's up. And I absolutely love the feedback as well. I think it added a little more depth to the engagement from you, me, and Jason. So appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who pulled up to the stream, to the people who reposted, that liked. Appreciate you. Much love to you. We are about to get up out of here. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the open mic returns. Streaming on everything, including Instagram. Make sure you tap in, like, share, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit the button. Let the algorithm know that we're here, that we're present. We're constantly active, constantly in the lab. Matter of fact, I'm going to be right back here tomorrow anyway. So y'all enjoy y'all evening. It is Friday, technically. Not yet, but it's Friday. So y'all be safe on the road. Enjoy the rest of your night. If you need to reach out, you know how to find me. Let me get this banner off of here. Yeah, good show, brother. Appreciate you for pulling up as per usual.
Mel, thank you so much for having me. This was a good one.
Y'all take it easy. See y'all tomorrow.